Hi guys, and welcome back to Sereneministry. Um, I'm still a bit under the weather, but we're going to get this message out because there's a lot going on, and the Lord has been speaking to me. And we're going to finish up the healing series, guys. Just really bear with me. Life has been lifing, and there's just been like so much going on. But today I want to speak about the things going on in the media with actress Keke Palmer and the singer Cassie with P. Diddy. So we're starting to hear about a lot of abuse lately, physical. And although it's nothing new, like let's just be honest, like all of these things that we're hearing is nothing new. It's things that has been going on forever. But it still doesn't make it less shocking. Because for some reason we think that certain people are basically immune. And we don't think that it can happen to people in such high places. Maybe because we value them more than we value our own selves. So we're somewhere thinking like not them, but they are no different than us. And the same demons and spirits that we're battling, they have to battle them as well. If you do not rid your life of certain spirits, then they will follow you. Like no matter where you go, they're going to meet you exactly where you are. So a lot of folks are like wondering, how do a woman or men, let's be very clear, men go through abuse just as much. Do not be fooled. But right now, we're speaking about these two women because right now, they're the ones basically in the spotlight for abuse right now. I'm not going into the details. That's not what I'm doing. I'm going to just brief y'all. Keke Palmer, she was abused by her child's father. And Cassie, she was abused by her ex. Well, I just say boss turned lover. So you all can get the details elsewhere. But I just want to speak a little bit on how do a woman or how do anyone get there? How do anyone get to a place of accepting abuse? And I'm going to give y'all a few story time snippets of my life because I want to be very transparent. And because I want to correlate exactly how somebody gets there. Because you don't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to accept being abused. You don't just sit and just dream of one day finding a partner who just laying hands on you. Nobody sits and just think that that's going to be their life. So I'm going to say for myself, because I've been in several abusive relationships, just about almost all of them. So let's just stick that out. And when I say abusive, what these ladies went through, it really triggered me. And I thought that I was over all of those things, but I have been triggered. and I have been receiving flashbacks. So when I say that life has been lifing in every which way, things that I thought that I had healed from, like memories, they all came flooding back. Because there's a lot of me in them both. And it doesn't. And I just want to just let everyone who has went through this right here and these ladies know that you are not alone, and your strength has not been diminished. You are much stronger and will be stronger for what you have overcame, because you're no longer in it, and you use your voice and your platform to speak out. And for that, you have saved so many women, and you are saving so many women. So hats off to you both. Okay, so a little bit of my background, and I'm gonna just be honest, and I'm gonna call a spade a spade. How we get there is, first of all, let's just say that these men don't start off the way, like, they don't just start off beating you. They start off being everything that you have been wanting. Everything that you have wished for, dreamed for, prayed for. Because you understand, their spirits operating within them. And these demonic spirits knows your voice, your traumas, your brokenness, what you're battling. Man has been watched and observed since the beginning of time. There's nothing new under the sun. So let's be very, very clear here. So the devil has watched us, and he's going to send what we feel is the missing link. He's going to send it in our life, gift wrapped. And it's going to mimic perfection. So when we enter these relationships and they start to be our quote unquote missing piece, and they start to complete us, quote unquote, which we should already be that before. But anyway, we fall and we start to find out that they're not who we thought that they were. So instead of filling those voids, they actually start to highlighting them. So when I say I'm going to speak a little bit about like little snippets about my life. For instance, what landed me in these abusive relationships was I didn't feel valued growing up. I didn't feel seen. I definitely wasn't heard. And so I was in an abusive household. One may argue, oh, that's just how things are. That's just how we raise our kids, but it's not normal. And it wasn't normal then. Abuse should never be normalized. I don't care what happened in slavery, ended up trickling down to our households. It wasn't normal then, and it's not normal now. And we're not going to normalize it, period. So I was abused by both my mother. My mother used, I'm going to say, excessive means to whoop us. And when I say that, I mean 3-4 switches with the leaves on it platted up, or the hardest leather belt she can find. Didn't care which end of it hit us, buckle or not. Never spoke to us. Didn't want to hear anything that we said. And we used to beg her to just speak to us, just find out what happened. Why did we do what we did? Because not everything is an action. Something is a reaction. And then, a stepfather who, he just, literally would pick us up and just toss us and didn't care where we landed. And mind you, we were small. Like, I'm gonna tell you how small I was. When I was in high school, I was 95 pounds. When I gave birth to my first child in my early 20s, I was 98 pounds. So I was a little child. So I'm just giving you a background. So when I started dating, and then in like high school, you don't just, wasn't nothing healed. I was still in what I was raised in. I was still in it. So I'm not going to meet a knight in shining armor. I'm not going to meet my knight. And even if I did, I wouldn't know what to do with them. My brokenness had already started. And it started way before then because I also had father wounds. So when I started to date, what I was attracted to was familiar spirits. These men felt like home for me. Something in them just felt natural because it was what I was naturally used to. And it's sad, but it's factual. Not saying that this is everybody else's story. Everybody stays for whatever reason. But for whatever reason, something in you is definitely unbroken. Something in you is definitely unhealed. Something in you definitely still needs to be worked on. That we can all agree on. Because it's not normal. It's not healthy. So anyway, I was with men who, was very abusive. And it started in high school when I would be dragged out of restaurants for simply being me. So I understand Keke Palmer. When you just have a big personality, so much so now I have to refine myself. And I don't bring out my real self, my real personality. There's still something in me that won't let me bring it out because it has been beaten almost into submission for almost my whole life. Whether it was in childhood and then adulthood, that a lot of times I'm afraid of being me because that's what people don't want you to be. Is you. That's what these spirits are after, you. They're not after nothing else but you. And you somewhere thinking, what is it about me? It's you. You just haven't found it yet, but it's you. So anyway, so out of restaurants for just making everybody laugh, for just being happy. I think of every time that a man has really laid hands on me was either me being too happy or me not wanting to perform some sexual deviant that he wants to do. But we'll get on that part later, because that started to come later in life. And he, dragged me out the restaurant, threw all of my stuff out the car. I'm talking about everything out of my purse. And I'm on the ground trying to find my stuff, and I'm embarrassed because people are looking. And mind you, we was with a group of people, and they standing around me looking. Nobody offered help. Nobody offered help. Because for some reason, in those situations, we have been trained, we have been conditioned to just stand there and say nothing, to stand there and do nothing. A lot of us have. This man, because he finished high school first, because we was with each other for a few years. He had people spying on me in school. He would leave notes on my vehicle, or he would be out there. It was toxic. I was no longer living. This man has stumped me, kicked me, punched me, fought me. And you wonder why these women allow these men to get with other women while they're still with you. Well, I'm going to explain me. I was just ready to get rid of him. And I was praying and hoping that he'll just find another woman, just leave me alone, because he wouldn't let me leave. And when you say wouldn't, he held a gun at my head when he left me and I didn't want to come back. And he did this in my driveway. I spoke out, and I did tell my mom, and she didn't believe me. She laughed it off and said, not him. So like I said, I'm only going to give snippets, because I'm not going to go into detail, because it's a lot. Like when I say it's a lot, it's a lot. It's just a lot. I was with him for about 3 years. So it was a lot. I'm talking about doing sleepovers over my friend's house. He broke into her house, stalked it until her parents went to work, and broke into my friend's house doing a sleepover and dragged me out of my sleep down the stairs out the house just to beat me. Then you move on. Finally, well, let me stop saying that. He moved on finally. So he found his next victim. I was thankful, and I'm going to just be honest, I was just thankful. My head wasn't in the spot to where I was thinking about, well, I hope he don't do the next one like that. No, I'm just thankful that he's no longer able to do me like that. That's where my young mind was. So then, hey, I end up meeting more guys that didn't work out, but then met one. Hey, he was abusive in different ways. So I thought that I had a better man, because this one wasn't laying hands, but it was emotional abuse. It was sexual abuse. It was manipulation. And all of these things go hand in hand. Now, I'm not going to say that it never did get physical, because it did, to the point where I had to get stitches for simply for me finding a phone number and wanting to leave him. that was when it started to get physical. And then you start to become numb. And I'm not even somebody who even do drugs. But I had to experiment with him just to perform the sexual deviance that he was asking of me. Because it gave me such anxiety, such a panic attack, that I knew that the me, who I was even then, could not stomach it. I wasn't going to be able to perform it and stomach it because I was too much still in my right mind. So anyway, hey, I ended up in the darn hospital because I was having a seizure from doing drugs. I just couldn't do it. So much so that he left the hospital because he thought he was going to get locked up. And I'm sitting here worrying about him being locked up when I finally came to. But that don't stop them from still wanting what they lustfully want. Because after I got better, I still had to perform what he was wanting. I just learned other ways and other means of disassociating myself from what I was experiencing. That was when I finally learned. And it was in my early 20s. Because at this point, I was a mother. And I had fought this life as long as I could fight it. And stay being me as long as I could stay being me, as long as I knew how. But I was tired. And I was losing me slowly. Because I had been told since I was little that me was just bad. So I was tired of fighting for me. And at that point, maybe everybody else was right. So, hey, you know, and then you just get tired. You're so numb, and and you're just doing all of these things and you're just not getting nothing out of it. And you just look around you, everybody else is smiling so happy, and you're just like waiting for it to be over. You're not getting what you want out of the relationship, and if you do, it's only crumbs. But when you're in it, the crumbs seem like a whole loaf, especially when that's all you're used to getting. And then, hey, you end up getting married. I met a few other guys, and those relationships turned abusive too. I'm talking about just out of nowhere. To where the demand is a weak man, so he wait until you're on like a prescription medicine, because he's learning you and want to come over when he feel you're weak and want to fight you for no reason. When I say for no reason, ain't nothing happened. Ain't no argument. Like, it's just starting to be for nothing now. Like, normally it's because the man that did something, or the man think you did something, or he's projecting himself on you for whatever reason. But then to meet somebody and you sitting here fighting for nothing, like now that threw me for a whole loop. Like, sir, I'm just sitting here. You just sitting there and you just jump up out of nowhere. So yeah, then, after those relationship, I'm married. And I endured hell for 14 years. No, it didn't start off like hell. It started off like he was saving me almost. But the hell got so bad that he sent me straight to where the Lord needed me to be. And that's in his hands with me and myself and the Lord. So the hell had to get worse. This man had me hopping out of windows to escape in the middle of the night, bare feet, halfway dressed, just so as not to perform sexual deviances again. That spirit just would not go. It found its way in my marital bed. Didn't know that you can even be raped in a relationship, but you can. Because no still means no. No still means no. Knocked on conscious, all of those things, blacking out. I remember one time I didn't even know what I was looking at, but I saw something in him manifesting. Didn't even know what all of that even was back then because I didn't know. Like I said, I was raised as a whole Jehovah's Witness. We don't speak about stuff like that. The only time we really speak about the devil is when he's been overcome. like we don't just speak about what's going on now in real life. That ain't what we was learning at all back then. But I saw something in him manifesting me that scared me. That I knew that I had to scream the Lord's name. Something said, scream the Lord's name or you're going to die. And as his hand was around my neck, trying to stop it, I freed his hands up just enough to scream the Lord's name. And I was looking at him in his face, and he released his hands. And I was able to run. I couldn't run out the house now, but I barricaded myself in a closet. And I was just crying and praying until I fell asleep. I slept on the floor. And he was so scared of himself. He was so scared of himself that he slept by the closet door, which was in the restroom on the floor. Because one thing is that devil isn't going to stay with you and comfort you. When that spirit leaves them, they're just left with what they have just done. So it was so bad that it scared him. So I'm saying all of this right here to say, until you heal what is broken within you, you're going to find yourself with it. It's not going to leave you. It's going to forever haunt you until you go to the Lord with these things and ask him, make you whole in him, give you eyes, to see you the way he sees you. You have songs from Ariana Grande, who, I wish I can see me from your point of view. You don't want to ever have a man see you more than the way you see yourself. You have to already see you like that. Don't ever let anyone, male or female, see you in a better light than you see yourself. You should already be seeing you the way the Lord sees you. You need to know the red flags, what they look like, but you're not going to see these red flags. The red flags is not going to be enough to stop you until you're in a more healed place. I'm not saying that you would have to be a 100% healed, but you have to be in a more healed place. Unless you're going to ignore these red flags every time, or you may not even know that they even are red flags because it's your norm. People always speaking about, they didn't see the red flags, they didn't see the red flags. If it's your norm, you don't even know what a red flag is. You're missing that part. Depending on just how broken you are. So I would advise anybody, the best relationship you will have in life is one with you and the Lord. Work on that. Work on you. You don't need anybody to make you whole. You don't need anybody to complete you. You just don't need it. And the only person you can fix or save for my men, and the only person you can fix for my women is you. You cannot change not a single person on this earth, but you can change you and how you show up in this world. And what you accept from everybody, from every relationship. It don't even have to be a relationship like that. It could be a friendship. It can be a relationship with your family. Whatever the relationship is, it can be a work relationship. Whatever relationship it is. Set boundaries and enforce them. Know what you're willing and you're not willing to accept. If something becomes uncomfortable, nip it immediately. Bring all these things to to the Lord. Let him heal you. He said in Jeremiah, I knew you before you was in your mother's womb. He already know you. The path of a righteous man, his steps are already ordered. He already know what he wants you to do on this earth, who he made you to be. We just got to step in it. We have to go to him and we got to learn us. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. We're made in our Father's image. And we don't serve a small God. He is the true God. He's the Alpha and the Omega. There's nobody before him and there will be nobody after him. He said every knee will bow. I just want you to know what a big, big God you serve. And he lives within you. He said, greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. He's in you. This big thing is in you. And you are made in his likeness. So don't accept a lesser God who steps in and uses his minions and his people on this earth who he enter in and out to ever say that you're less than. Our Father in heaven has given us authority over these lesser gods. And we just got to walk in it. And we got to know who we are. And we got to learn who we are. And when we learn who we are, we have to step in it and show up in this world as such. So I love y'all. I know that this has been like a little bit heavy. And I'm just, I'm praying for each and every one of y'all to step in and walk in who you were made to be. The fearfully and wonderfully made being who you are. It's time for us to get to our root. And I'm gonna leave my book in the description. So guys, please like this video, send it to whoever you feel need this video. And go on to Amazon and get the book. Feel free to leave a comment if anybody needs, to speak to me. My email will be also linked below. And I'll speak to you all later, guys. Love y'all. Bye-bye.